It is Item Malik Aaron, and welcome back to Box Office Predictions. Yes, I know these videos are coming out really late. Ugh, life has been a mess recently. Hopefully, things will get back to normal in due time. But yeah, anywho, today we are talking about the Avatar 2022 re release. Yes. Yep, second re-release I've done this month. Actually, third. That feels great. And I'm just gonna let you know now, like when it comes to the pros and cons, some of the things I say in this video will apply to Avatar 2, The Way of Water, in when I make that video in December. Alright, I'll be making some of the same points. Because, well, it's Avatar. So, you just want to give you a little heads up. So, here we go. Pros. Avatar 2009. Biggest movie of all time. Well, it lost it temporarily to Endgame, but they gained it back a little later. It's from Mr. James Cameron. Yep. This man right here. This man is known for, well, not Piranha 2. Definitely not that. He is known for the Terminator. Well, Terminator 2 Judgment Day, Aliens, The Abyss, True Lies. Many of these movies being massive hits, huge hits. But then 1997, he made Titanic, and that changed everything. Now, I don't need to tell you what Titanic is. We all know what it is. You know, Jack and Rose and their love story that coincided with the tragedy of the Titanic and how it hit an iceberg and the whole ship sunk and many died, and many would say Jack unnecessarily died because Rose wouldn't, you know, let him get on like the debris because apparently he couldn't fit. It's a whole thing. But Titanic, it just blew up like something fierce. Unlike any movie ever at that time. I mean, look at these weekend numbers. They are crazy. It was number 1 for 15 weeks in a row. That is 3 months. That's some insanity. Actually, four-ish months. That is never. We got. It's undescribable. Really, there's no way you can describe this without just being flabbergasted. People saw this movie over and over and over and over and over again. It's madness. It ended up becoming the biggest movie of all time. At the time, it made like $1.8 billion. It was the first movie to ever make $1 billion worldwide. So that was an insane accomplishment. So one would think, oh, James Cameron would get to work on his next movie like real soon. Not quite, no. Took him 12 years. 12 to make his next movie, which would be Avatar. The reason why is because, well, James Cameron, he had the idea of Avatar around the same time as Titanic, but then he realized that in order to achieve his vision, the technology had to be there. It had to advance to the point where his vision can become a reality. Because have you seen 90s CGI? Oh boy, and even early 2000 CGI isn't much better. Yeah, so once I guess I'm pretty sure Avatar's production actually started in 2005, like when the HD era was starting to become a thing. So that's when he got the ball rolling. And then 2009, Avatar came out, end of the year in December, just like Titanic. And like Titanic, expectations were a little sketchy. Like with Titanic, a lot of people thought that would be a flop. How wrong people were, and People thought the same thing about this. They'll be like, yeah, it's James Cameron, but it's been like over a decade, and this is some movie about some weird blue cat alien people. Is just no one really knew what to think, but everyone knew it would be somewhat of a big deal. It would be the movie or the holiday movie of 2009, end up being the movie of 2009 and the whole decade because, like Titanic, this movie made stupid money. It opened with 77 million, had a second weekend drop of 2%, then another weekend drop of 9%. Like, look at these numbers: 77, 75, 68, 50, 42, 34, 31. It took until February to not make over 20 million opening weekend. So it didn't quite have the legs of Titanic, but that did not matter. It dominated everything for a long time. And it ended up making more than Titanic. Granted, it made less in terms of ticket sales. Doesn't matter. It made 760 million domestic, 2.8 billion. Well, actually, it was 2.7 billion at the time. That's increased to 2.8 billion. So it became the biggest movie of all time. So James Cameron made two movies that became the biggest of all time. And now here we are, 3 months before the sequel. And now it's getting re-released. Well, actually, again, because technically this movie was already re-released in August of 2010. It technically got a re-release then, so this is just another one, except with 4K and stuff like that. So yeah, history's shown James Cameron is a moneymaker. No one can deny that. He proved it with Titanic. He proved it with Avatar. He'll probably prove it again with Avatar 2. So, yeah, this is just the overall success of Avatar is a pro here because it's so widely known. So that's pro number one. Pro number two with this re-release is that overall the box office, it's pretty weak. It's not as weak as it once was, but it's still weak. It's still kind of pathetic. I mean, the only movies that are doing any substantial business are, well, there was The Woman King last weekend, and this weekend is Don't Worry Darling. Besides those, it's just low single digits. It's depressing. So that should give the Avatar re-release, a chance to, it won't be number one, but it will definitely be number three, probably. So yeah, like weak overall competition in the grand scheme of things. I think I would consider that to be a pro. So that's pro number two. Uh, pro number three is that this movie, this re-release, while they never really advertised this, I initially thought this would just be, the original movie again. But apparently, according to some screenings, there was some secret Way of Water footage that hasn't been released to the public yet that was attached to this re-release. So that might interest people. People who are interested in watching the sequel. You get to see a sneak preview of it. So it's not just a total waste of time with this re-release. So, yeah, the promise of new sequel footage, I would consider that to be a pro. That might convince some people to watch it. I think that's it, really. Yeah. Okay, cons. Well, a big con is that this re-release has like a 2-week limited engagement. I use bunny ears when I say that, like quotation marks, because sometimes that's just not true. Sometimes they just say that to drive up demand. Like, I remember, like, I did some research on these like super limited runs. Remember, it was 2008. There was like this Miley Cyrus Hannah Montana concert experience movie thing that came out. and they're like, oh, it's a 1 week engagement, and the movie did stupid well that one weekend, and they were like, oh, I guess we have to, you know, make it go longer for demand. So really, the 2 week engagement, I don't really believe that. I guess we'll wait and see. We'll see what happens. But if it is indeed 2 weeks, oof, 2 weeks to make money. I know majority of movies can make their most of their money in 2 weeks, but just 2 weeks period. That's a lot. That's a whole lot. I don't know if you can make that much money, especially for a re-release. I don't know. I feel like that might hurt it quite a bit. So I would consider that to be a con, the whole 2 week limited engagement thing. Another con is that it revolves around Avatar itself. I mean, sure, it made $2.8 billion, biggest movie of all time. Blah 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 blah. But we have to ask a question: why did people watch Avatar? Was it because of the characters? Was it because of the story? Or was it because of the visuals? The answer is visuals, obviously. That's the only reason why anyone watched the original, really. I mean, because Avatar, it brought back 3D. Like, it made 3D its big thing and made a majority of its money in 3D. It made 3D a big old fad for a while. Boy, that was. Ugh, the memories. Like, the point where every movie was using 3D as a marketing gimmick. I mean, well, for every movie that used 3D well, like How to Train Your Dragon and Gravity, there was a Clash of the Titans. All right, there's a Last Airbender. Okay, movies that just use 3D as a selling point, even though the movie was never was meant to be in 3D in the first place. It was just converted to 3D in post, and that's why it looked so crappy. And don't even get me started on the movies that use 3D in the title, like Step Up 3D, Saw 3D, Jackass 3D. Well, I heard that one was actually pretty good. It was just a big gimmick, and people got burned out real fast. And now 3D just exists. It merely exists. But maybe the sequel, The Way of Water, can bring 3D back again, make it a fad again. I don't know. We'll we'll see when that comes out. But yeah, the only reason why anyone watched Avatar was for the 3D and for the visuals, because the visuals are spectacular, absolutely spectacular. No one can deny that. Like James Cameron, like he knows his stuff when it comes to visual effects, um, and the visual style of his movies. But the characters, like, what are the names of the characters? You got like Jake Sully, Natiri, I think, and that's it. That's all I remember. I know Stephen Lang's in this was in this movie as like the evil generic military man, and it was like this tribe, the Navi, yeah, the Navi tribe, and yeah, just and then the whole plot was literally just a rip off of Fern Gully, and yeah, it was just a movie with spectacular visuals and a throwaway plot and characters. That's what Avatar was. So I don't know if anyone wants to get their thrill of the visuals again, or especially pay for them again. I'm not too sure. So the fact that Avatar's whole reputation is about its visuals and its plot and characters are just throwaway, that's a con. In my book, it's a con. Another con I can think of with this re-release, trying to think, was the fact that Avatar, it's been like widely available for well over a decade since it originally it was in theaters in 2009, then it went to DVD and Blu-ray. It's been up to Blu-ray, Ultra Blu-ray, 4K, 4K Ultra, and not to mention it was on Disney Plus for a long time. It's been taken off of Disney Plus because of this re-release, but it's supposed to come back to Disney Plus before the sequel comes out. So at least I won't have to deal with streaming being a problem. We won't have to deal with that, even though some people think it's real scummy, but whatever. But the fact that this movie's been widely available for so long, it kind of just, do people really want to pay money, like big money, not cheap money, to watch it on the big screen again when the movie really wasn't all that great in the first place? Like, I understand watching No Way Home again on the big screen, and it helps to have like extra scenes in it that weren't in the original cut. But this is just the same movie, except I mean, sure, you get some brand new footage of the sequel, but it's just the same movie. But it looks prettier. So yeah, like yeah. So I say the wide availability of Avatar since it came out, that's a con, definitely. And I think that's it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's it. So opening weekend, this is hard. Well, I guess we can use the No Way Home re-release as a good comparison point. Uh, gotta find it. Release schedule. Scrolling. Here we go. Okay. So the No Way Home re-release. This came out like 8.5 months after the original movie. And it also originally came out in December. Mid-December too. Weird. But that re-release opened with $5 million, $5.4 million in nearly 4,000 theaters. And it fell off hard after that. 75%, 83% is just dead. So it was a one weekend only movie. So yeah, I feel like the same is gonna happen to the Avatar re-release. And it's in less theaters too. It's like in less than 2,000. Yeah, 1,800. Yeah, 1,860 theaters. So yeah, that's less theaters, but it is in like, it does have like those big money, 3D and whatnot. Like that, obviously, that's much higher prices than just regular old tickets than watching it in like the normal version. So that might help it, but I feel like it might it might open around that. I think I'm gonna have a bit more of a wide range. I think between 3 and 5 million opening weekend is fine enough, I think, for this re-release. I mean, really, the whole point of this re-release is for this movie to make a couple more dollars and to basically be an advertisement and a refresher of the Avatar universe before the sequel comes out. That's the whole point of this. So yeah, 3 to 5 million opening weekend. It's total less than 10. Less than 10. That's what I'm sticking with. So yeah, that's the Avatar re-release that I know I'm not gonna watch. I will watch the sequel though, and I will definitely talk about the sequel come December 16th. All right. Stay tuned for that one. Next up, the big one of the weekend. Don't worry, darling. There's so much to talk about regarding that. And then there's also On the Come Up, which is technically a wide release. I wish I didn't have to talk about it, but I have to. And then Moon Age Daydream. That's apparently a wide release too. And Can I just have one weekend where I don't have a ton of movies to talk about? I'm begging for just a one weekend, one movie, one weekend, one movie. I just want one movie to talk about for a weekend. Or how about no movies? I'm totally fine. I'm totally open for a dead weekend. Like, I need it. Okay? Like, please. Stop throwing all these movies at me. It's exhausting. Especially after last week. So, yeah. But stay tuned for all the rest of these prediction videos. And yeah, that's it. That's all. Make sure to subscribe, like this video, leave a comment, turn on notifications, share the whole drill. You want to check out more videos like this? I got a playlist on the homepage. Fill with all previous all prediction videos I made this year. When it comes to re-releases, I did the No Way Home re-release. I did the Jaws re-release. I think that's it. I'm pretty sure that's it. Yeah, that's it. I did those. So if you want to watch my prediction videos on those, go right ahead. There's also the canceled series where I go over all the movies that were supposed to come out but didn't. I covered the Avatar re-release in a canceled episode. I covered it alongside Shazam 2 or Shazam Fury of the Gods. I did that back in April when it was just a bunch of stuff happening at once. It was episode 122. Yes, 122. That's where I talked about it. So, watch that episode, but if you want to watch any of the past cancel episodes, there's now 155. So, yeah, more than enough to choose from. Go watch it all, binge it from beginning to now. Highly encourage you to do that, so go do it. There's also box office recaps where I go over the box office results for any particular month. I posted this on like the community tab that I have. Though my summer 2022 recaps, those have been pushed to next week. This will be the last delay of that. I promise. Those will come next week, no matter what. Okay, telling you that now. No more delays. No more pushbacks. It will happen. So stay tuned for those. But if you want to watch any of the past recap videos I've made, you can go right ahead. And yeah, that's it. That's all. I am out. Goodbye.